I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. There's a quote from one of my English teachers at Lower Merion named Mr. Fisk. He had a great quote that said, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." And that's something I always live by. I'm not going to rest. I'm going to keep on pushing now. There are a lot of answers that I don't have, even questions that I don't have. But I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going, and I'll figure these things out as I go, right? And you just continue to build that way. So I try to live by that all the time.
At what age did that goal become crystal clear?
I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
At 13 years old?
13 years old. That's the deal I made.
Crystal clear about it?
Crystal clear.
And where did inspiration come from?
The love of the game. The love of the game, the challenge. Like I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out. Let's find out. And so that curiosity to see where I could push this thing led me down that path, I think. I had a summer where I played basketball when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and here I come playing, and I don't score 1 point the entire summer. Not a free throw, nothing, not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it and being upset about it. And my father just gave me a hug and said, "Listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm going to love you no matter what." Wow. Now that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there, I was like, okay, that gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security with it. But the hell with that, I'm scoring 60. And from there, I just went to work. I stayed with it. I kept practicing.
My competitive drive is far greater than anyone else that I've met. I think that I thrive on that. I think that's my biggest motivation in life, is to compete, find different competitions in certain things in life and try to overcome that, be it positive or negative. But I have yet to meet someone who is as competitive as me, and I just feel that much confident about my competitive drive.
You're hungry or you full yet?
No, you feel yourself getting full because each time that you win, it takes away a little bit of that hunger, which is a challenge within itself. It's a battle within your mind to find a challenge to go to that same place that you've been 5 times before. And that's hard. When people say, well, the first one was the hardest, no, the last one's the hardest because you're battling with yourself. If I can really elaborate on why I said myself more so than another athlete is that because a lot of times I had to battle with myself to keep challenging myself. That to me was why I would say that the biggest battle was myself, because when you get to a certain pinnacle, you got to find some ways to keep going out there for 82 games.
Do you think you have a gambling problem at all?
No, because I can stop gambling. I have a competition problem. No, I've never been afraid. I mean, obviously you're nervous, but afraid means you're not confident in your skills. I have total confidence in my skills, so I'm not afraid.
You had the utmost confidence. Your confidence level was through the roof. Where is it now?
On top of the roof. I don't think my confidence changed. I wouldn't have come back into this situation lacking in confidence that I can play this game. I know I can play this game. And I know I can play it at the highest level and successfully. So I haven't lacked any confidence.
Who's your favorite guy to play against?
Myself. Because a lot of times I had to battle with myself to keep challenging myself.
I think that's when the idea of understanding a long-term view became important. Because I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week. I wasn't going to catch them in a year, right? So that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is going to take some thought, right? What do I want to work on first? All right, shooting. All right, let's knock this out. Let's focus on this. Half a year, 6 months, do nothing but shoot. All right, after that, all right, creating your own shot. And you focus. So I started creating a menu of things. When I came back the next summer, I was a little bit better. I scored. Yeah, it wasn't much, right, but I scored.
This is 12, 13.
12, 13. And then 14 came around, back half of 13, 14 years old. And then I was just killing everyone. And it happened in 2 years. And I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2 years, but it did, because what I had to do was work on the basics and the fundamentals. While they relied on their athleticism and their natural ability. And because I stick to the fundamentals, it just caught up to them. And then my body, my knees stopped hurting. I grew into my frame. then it was game over.
Wow. Were you always competitive from the day you were born? You were super competitive?
Competitive with things that I participate in. So I'll put it to you this way. So like, basketball for me was the most important thing. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft. So at 13 years old, I had I had a kill list. And so, they used to do these rankings, so Street and Smith basketball rankings. And I was nowhere to be found because I was like 6'4", scrawny, like 160 pounds soaking wet. So I was like 57 on the list. And so I will look at 56, 55, all the way up to number 1, who these players are, what club teams they played for. So when we go on an AAU travel circuit, I got to hunt them down.
Have you ever been afraid on the court, ever? Against anybody?
Never.
Have you ever been intimidated by anybody?
Never. I mean, these guys put on their shorts just like me. I don't fear anyone on the basketball court.
And that's what it's all about on this level. If you believe in yourselves and your skills, in which they have skills, you certainly can compete in this level.
Because at this level, nobody's bad, right?
Nobody's bad.
You're talking about the cream of the crop.
It's the mind. If you got the
more
right
mental
mind.
than physical?
You got a lot of guys who with the ability, but yet don't have the mind, and they're not in the league. A lot of guys who can run and jump can probably shoot, but if they don't have the killer instinct or the confidence in themselves to perform those skills, no.
You got to really kill team. Send a message, send a sense of fear to whoever is going to come in that building. We don't mess around. When you come in, you're 10 points down.
Jordan! Oh, yeah. Where did he go?
All those things we were trying to send that message.
Was fear of failure a motivator?
I never feared about my skills, because I put in the work.
Damn.
Put him away, MJ. Work ethic eliminates fear.
Yes.
So if you put forth the work, then what are you fearing? You know what you're capable of doing, what you're not.
Fear. What's your big fear?
Snakes.
Snakes. Just any kind of snake?
Any kind of snake.
Doesn't have to be poisonous.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to try. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't pan out the way that you envision it. But at least you know that by giving it a shot.
Tell me what you were thinking about when you were going in for that jam and with Magic over there on the sideline. Were you thinking about what you were going to do when that?
I was thinking too much. I knew in my mind I think I was going to throw it off the backboard as I did in Miami 2 years ago, and I just got so damn anxious with the ball that I just couldn't grab it, and I kept trying to grab it. Next thing you know, it's gone. It was really embarrassing, but everybody makes mistakes.
Well, more the inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Eagle. Good! The Bulls win! They win it! And Chicago has knocked off the Cavs 101.
And so that became my mission in high school, is to check off every other person, all those 56 other names, hunt them down and knock them down. So when we played at 13, I would size you up and see what your strengths and weaknesses are. How do you approach the game? Are you silly about it? Are you goofy about it? Are you good at it just because you're bigger and stronger than everybody else? Right? Or is there actually thought and skill that you put into it? Right? And when I'd play to my weaknesses. I always work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull up jump shot, post game. Right? So I have a strategy.
What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Every day. Since 20 years. It was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Now, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast. Right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game and it just never changed.
What does losing feel like to you?
It's exciting.
Why is it exciting?
Because it means you have different ways to get better. There's certain things that you can figure out that you can take advantage of, right? Certain weaknesses that were exposed that you need to shore up, right? So it was exciting. I mean, it sucks to lose,
right?
But the hardest thing is to face that stuff.
Go home, motherfuckers, go home.
Get the fuck out of here. Go fucking anywhere, but you out of here. That shot gave me the idea that I could be better than what people think, and I can, surpass any expectations that I may have for myself. I felt I was open. I felt confident, and I felt within range. And when I got it, I just kept fluid motion and went straight up and made the shot. So I made it with a lot of confidence, not with no doubt or anything. I think that my offensive game has reached its peak right now in the way that I'm playing and the confidence that I have in my offensive game. There's a lot of conversations about what your game is capable of achieving, and I'm a firm believer that if you have a good game, your game is going to say that. You don't have to say it. So I guess it's trying to play down some of the trash talking, animosity that's in words and the whole promotional thing. Let your game be your promotion, your marketing tool. I only talk trash to people that I knew, my friends, Patrick Ewing, Bird, Magic, those type of guys. But I never talk trash to people that I didn't know or people I'm just meeting. And if they did, my game always different talking. I never say anything.
Have you ever met anyone that you felt was as competitive as you are?
No. I just feel that, my competitive drive is far greater than anyone else that I've met. I think that I thrive on that. I think that's my biggest motivation in life, is to compete, find different competitions in certain things in life and try to overcome that, be it positive or negative. But I have yet to meet someone who is as competitive as me, and I just feel that much confident about my competitive drive. If I was in my prime, who would I want to play one-on-one with? That list is very long. Start off with Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Kobe Bryant in his prime, LeBron in his prime, D-Wade in his prime, Melo. That's a good start. Yeah. I don't think I lose. Other than Kobe Bryant because he steals all my moves.
When you're on the court with either of those guys, do you ever say, wow, I wish I could do that, or I wish I would have done it that way?
Yeah, I'm amazed by certain things that they do, and sometimes there is a sense of trying to imitate one of those.
Or intimidate too, whatever the case might be, right?
But I love playing with those guys because they're going to be very competitive. They got hearts just like you. They want the ball when the time is running out. And they're one of the greatest players in the league, and sometimes it's great to play against players like that. And
how did you get mentally and emotionally so strong where it doesn't bother you?
Well, you got to look at the reality of the situation. Like for me, it's not, you kind of got to get over yourself, right? And then after that, it's okay, well, why did those air balls happen? Got it. I didn't have the legs. So you look at the shot, every shot was online, but every shot was short. Right? I got to get stronger. I got to train differently. The weight training program that I'm doing, I got to tailor it for an 82-game season so that when the playoffs come around, my legs are stronger and that ball gets there. So I look at it with rationale. Say, okay, well, the reason why I shot air balls is because my legs aren't there. I go, well, next year they'll be there. You have to do the hard stuff and watch that game and study that game to not make those mistakes over and over again just because you weren't brave enough to face it. So you got to deal with it. Got to deal with it. Face it, learn from it. You don't want to have that feeling again, do you? Right? So you got to really study it, face it. And not to say you'll win the next time you face it, but at least you'll give yourself a better chance.
Yeah.
It's an obsessiveness that comes along with it. You want things to be as perfect as they can be, understanding that nothing is ever perfect. But the challenge is try to get them as perfect as they can be. And what can you do? It's in your control. So control what you can.
you have this mindset, but how did you develop that? I don't know if that's what you call the Mamba mindset, but how did you develop that? And when did it start?
It started in middle school and high school. Because a lot of the kids that I was playing against were inner city kids. Yeah. And so they're looking at me as if, okay, this kid's soft. They felt like they could try to be physical or try to intimidate me and do all this other stuff, which they couldn't, right? But now I'm saying, okay, well, you're trying to attack me. How am I going to attack you? How can I mentally figure out ways to break you down? How can I show you that, no, I have the edge, right? And so that's when it first started for me, is figuring out how to get the upper hand on an opponent that way.
And what would you do to mentally break people down then?
One of the things I would do is, while everybody would be at the cafeteria eating and doing all sort of stuff, I'd just go back to the gym. And so that was my way of showing them, yeah, I may be from the suburbs, but you're not going to outwork me.
Wow.
Like, I see a lot of players take vacations with other players that are close friends. And they'll just take vacations just to take vacations, or just hang out just to hang out. Like, I never did that.
Why not though? Why didn't you do that?
Well, because when I retire, I didn't want to have to say, I wish I would have done more. I don't want that. I played games with the flu. I played games with 102-degree fever, man. We had a game against Toronto in 2000, and Vince was tearing the league up. My back was jacked. So I would be in the layup line like, okay, there's a lot of days where, you can rest and recover. Today ain't one of them. Your back can bother you any other day. That ain't bothering me today. He gonna have to see me today.
There's going to be a lot of opinions about who's the greatest team in forever. I mean, when you look at the Celtics, they got 16, 18, how many championships they got, but they never won the championship when they had 28 teams and so much parity in the league at this era. So that means something to win 3 in a row, knowing there's so much talent in this league now, so much parity in this league. That's going to be a heck of an argument by anybody's standard. So we feel we must be considered one of the best teams ever. Personally, I mean, individual goal was that Magic, Bird, Isaiah never did this. So that meant a lot to me to do it for the third time, yes. I won't say that I'm better than those people, but I think in terms of success, continuous and consistently, that puts me right up there with them, if not, a step above them.
3, that's enough, isn't it?
Enough for you?
No, for you.
No, it's never enough. It's never enough as long as you compete. It's always great to win, but that's why you compete. And I think we're going to certainly try to do this for the 4th time. But right now, the 3rd time was a lot of damn work.
You're playing against the Golden State Warriors. Score is 107-109. You guys are close to getting into the playoffs. You know exactly what happens in the game. You go up, you're about to take your shot, and then all of a sudden, boom, Achilles happens.
Getting schooled for a baseline dunk the first time I matched up with him, that was like the coolest thing. It was, because I'd seen that spin move so many times, and then I knew he was going to do it. But the timing on TV and then in person are 2 completely different things. So he just spun right before I thought he was going to spin, and I was like, damn, that was pretty cool. When I came to the league and matching up against him, what I found that he was extremely open to having a relationship, a mentor relationship, and giving me a great amount of advice and an amazing amount of detail, strategies, workout regimens, and things like that. So, seriously, I don't think people really understand the amount of impact that he's had on me as a player and as a leader.
Maybe it surprised people that Kobe and I were very close friends, but we were very close friends. Kobe was my dear friend. He was like a little brother. Everyone always wanted to talk about the comparisons between he and I just wanted to talk about Kobe. All of us have brothers and sisters, little brothers, little sisters who, for whatever reason, always tend to get in your stuff, your closet, your shoes, everything. It was a nuisance, if I can say that word. But that nuisance turned into love over a period of time, just because the admiration that they had for you as big brothers or big sisters. The questions, they're wanting to know every little detail about life that they were about to embark on. He used to call me, text me, 11:30, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Talking about post-up moves, footwork, and sometimes the triangle. At first, it was an aggravation. But then it turned into a certain passion. This kid had passion like you would never know. And it's an amazing thing about passion. If you love something, if you have a strong passion for something, you would go to the extreme to try to understand or try to get it. Either ice cream, Cokes, hamburgers, whatever you have a love for. If you have to walk, you would go get it. If you have to beg someone, you would go get it. What Kobe Bryant was to me was the inspiration that someone truly cared about the way I played the game or the way that he wanted to play the game. He wanted to be the best basketball player that he could be. And as I got to know him, I wanted to be the best big brother that I could be.
Well, Michael Jordan for me was always, the person that inspired me the most. And, how he carried himself, how he handled things, and how he carried the athlete, the black athlete, not just in the United States of America, but became a global phenomenon, and saying, okay, a black athlete can reach the masses and inspire the masses on a global scale. Michael is competitive in all things that don't make sense, right?
Ping pong.
Yeah, it's just, you know what I'm saying? So, like, he would try to get me to play golf all the time. Mike, I know about you. I've written books report about you in, like, elementary school. Like, I know you started playing golf when you were in Carolina. So that means if I'm doing the math, you've been playing golf for, like, 100 fucking years. I have not picked up a golf club.
Ever.
The last thing you're going to do is get me on a golf course and annihilate me. I'm not going to do it.
Is Michael Jordan a friend of yours?
He's a good mentor of mine. He's like a big brother.
He is, okay.
Yeah.
So how regularly will you speak to Michael?
I don't know.
Like in a year's time?
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. And Will Smith was here a few weeks ago. He was talking about Michael and how he just constantly wants to compete when it comes to everything.
All the time.
Literally everything. Does he do that with you?
Yeah.
He does?
He tries, yeah.
He tries?
Try.
And what things does he try to compete with you?
I don't know. I mean, the last time we had dinner, he was talking about, my year in 1991 versus your peak year. I would have kicked your ass. And I said, Mike, come on now, listen. Enjoy the salad. We both know that's not going to happen.
When you and Michael go out to dinner, who picked up the check at the end of that meal?
Well, he does. He's big brother.
Oh, he does? Okay.
Big brother always picks it up.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works.
These are the things that we will continue to learn from Kobe Bryant. To Vanessa, Natalia, Bianca, Capri, my wife and I will keep you close in our hearts and our prayers. We will always be here for you, always. I also want to offer our condolences and support to all the families affected by this enormous tragedy. Kobe gave every last ounce of himself to whatever he was doing. After basketball, he showed a creative side to himself that I didn't think any of us knew he had. In retirement, he seemed so happy. He found new passions, and he continued to give back as a coach. in his community. More importantly, he was an amazing dad, amazing husband, who dedicated himself to his family and who loved his daughters with all his heart. Kobe never left anything on the court. And I think that's what he would want for us to do. No one knows how much time we have. That's why we must live in the moment. We must enjoy the moment. We must reach and see and spend as much time as we can with our families and friends and the people that we absolutely love. To live in the moment means to enjoy each and every one that we come in contact with. When Kobe Bryant died, a piece of me died. And as I look in this arena and across the globe, a piece of you died, or else you wouldn't be here. Those are the memories that we have to live with and we learn from. I promise you, from this day forward, I will live with the memories of knowing that I had a little brother that I tried to help in every way I could. Please rest in peace, little brother.